go. Dominate on the 1, 2, 3. Dominate. Let's go. Let's go, guys. 60 plus. Let's go. Chiefs on 3. 1, 2, 3.
And he's going to be sacked back at the 22. Throwing long near side Devery. Henderson intercepted by Stanford Routt on an underthrow. The first pickoff this year for Kansas City. Fires it near side. Caught by Bo, wide open. And he backs in for a gain of 7 on 4th and 5. Power play, left side, Charles off tackle, he's at the 20, he's at the 30, turns that speed loose, he's at the 50, Harper chasing, they're not going to catch him, it's going to be touchdown, Kansas City, in one of the longest runs in Kansas City Chiefs history. From his own end zone, Breeze is going to be hit and fumbles it, the ball's loose. They're going to say he was in the grasp of a Kansas City defender at the goal line. A 24-24 tie, 6:32 to go in the overtime. Snap down, Sukup's kick. It is up and it's right down the middle. Sukup has given Kansas City an overtime victory.
Oh yeah, we ready now. We ready now. Watch out. Hey, Mo. Woo! Good luck. That's it, Mo. Great job. Hey, that's the way to be a leader. That's it, baby. That's trust each other. Trust each other. Let it go, baby. That was football. We got better today. You guys got better today. All right? And now look, the next play is next week. And you gotta put as much or more into it. Yes, sir. More into it. And let's get this stuff rolling the right direction. Back to work tomorrow, all right? Chiefs on 3. 1, 2, 3. Cheers. No hangover.
That was like an infusion of adrenaline through everyone in the Chiefs kingdom. Outstanding editing by Little Buddha, Will Blackwell, and there's nothing like winning in the National Football League. Mitch Holthus with you, along with the snapper Kendall Gammon. What an incredible victory. Numerically, for coming from an 18-point deficit, the greatest comeback in the 53-year history of this franchise.
It was fabulous to sit there and watch that develop like it did. It just kept rolling. You talked about the boulder in the past going the wrong way. This time the boulder was going our way, and defense stepped up, offense stepped up, special teams stepped up, complete team effort, and quite honestly, coaching really stepped up and did some great jobs too. Great adjustments.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute. But one play, it was interesting last night on the Chiefs Kingdom radio show. We had both Glenn Dorsey and Ryan Succop on there, and both mentioned when Jamaal Charles turned it loose for that 91-yard touchdown run, the longest TD in Chiefs history from a rushing attempt, they said the sideline totally changed. You were down there. What happened?
It is. You normally, games don't change on big plays. It's normally in the special teams, but on this play, you see what happens. He goes the distance, and it breathes life into the offense, the defense, the special teams, like I talked about, the team that, okay, we can get this done. And you know what? They realized, okay, we just got to keep chipping away. And, I mean, he was a workhorse. He was a plow horse the whole day. Just did a wonderful job. You see here, this long run right now, we're looking at it. Just people have the angle on him, and people who were wondering, does he have the speed back? Yes, Jamaal Charles does have the speed back. Nice job there. Nice job by the offensive line as well.
I tweeted out, and I've said it this week, that Jamaal Charles was NFL ninja in this game. 39 touches, second in franchise history, only to Larry Johnson's 41 back in 2006. But Larry Johnson was 235 pounds.
Correct.
Jamaal Charles is 195 pounds. I think what's underestimated about this guy is his toughness. We all know his God-given ability and his speed and his explosiveness. But Jamaal Charles' toughness, and I saw it the first day he walked into this place, is extraordinary. And he showed that ninja toughness in that win over New Orleans.
Well, he did. And I don't know whether he had a chip on his shoulder or not, but you talked about not being as big as some other backs. But the fact is, and you see right here, we're going to get to it, but you see that offensive line. This is a play that's blocked perfectly and allows him to get open and make that jaunt down the sideline. But how he handles himself, and I think it's interesting also in terms of the fact that you thought Sproles was going to be the story of the all-purpose yardage and everything. We have to track him. And who has the all-purpose yardage with 233, and then, of course, the passing as well is one Jamaal Charles.
Again, 288 all-purpose yards, 39 touches, a remarkable.
Is this yours?
I don't know.
Congratulations.
Let's take a look at Jamal's. Okay, we're going to hang on. I want Rob, hang in here a second. This was a huge weekend.
It was.
Listen, the 65 TPT crew. Now, you've been here a long time, and so have I. And people have mentioned a personal Emmy, and yes, I'm excited about it. But I didn't win any Emmys until one guy rolled into town. This is an example of an Emmy. 11 won by 65 TPT production this week. 11. It was a benchmark day for the franchise. But we're going to bring him here on set now, because none of us won any Emmys until this guy arrived. This guy is and was and is and will be a game changer. Rob Alberino, Vice President for Media and Marketing for the Kansas City Chiefs, has won nearly 6 Emmys.
No, I'm not mic'd, so hopefully they can hear me. But I looked at the set when I got online just down the hallway, and I noticed that you were missing something, and it wasn't a Mitch or a Kendall bobblehead. So I figured I just had to bring something. I didn't want to interrupt the show more than I've already done, but. You can't not have that. You had it on the show last night, right? Didn't you have it on your show?
I did on the
apparently?
Chiefs Kingdom radio show, yeah. The geeks went crazy.
Sure.
But it doesn't translate as well on radio as it does
it really
looking at it. And I don't know how to say this, but it's kind of a big deal.
You're kind of a big deal. I want you guys to get your script. Unbelievable stuff for you guys. I'm going to go follow online, so don't screw up. But please, continue.
That is the guy, however, that changed One Arrowhead Drive. The website went from 32nd in the league to 1st. There are incredible people that work at 65 TPT, Kendall. Incredible people. And you see a lot of their credits listed on this show. What the Chiefs Kingdom and all Chiefs fans need to know is what Rob Alberino has done for this franchise, whether it's the game day experience,
right,
working with sales and marketing, or all of the shows that we produce and put together on KCChiefs.com, or that you see on your favorite over-the-air television station. The digital world has exploded through him, the viral world. Rob Alberino's a game changer. Yes, excitement over Emmys, but this is a crew that is a world championship crew, bar none.
Well, Chiefs fans are second to none. They want to know what's going on with their team, and he gives people that chance. He gives fans that chance. He brings you in. The Finding 53, the Chiefs Blueprint, the Chiefs Kingdom, all those different things. He does a fabulous job. And then you talked about the people behind the scenes and the cut-ups they do, the locker room shots that they get inside where nobody else gets inside. It's just stuff that you're speechless and you don't know how to describe it, but quite honestly, it's that thing right there that describes it, and that's the Emmy, and that's job well done.
Now, let's go back to football. Jamaal Charles' 91-yard run might have changed the season for the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's get some locker room reaction. What did that run, what did that win mean to the confidence of this team and where it could lead it?
It was basically 70 easy. Line did a great job blocking. Fullback did a great job. He's a rookie, Nate Etro. He come in, he said, follow me, and I followed behind the guy, and he came in. I went off eaches, and I basically just ran all the way.
Did you think that you were going to go all the way?
I didn't know this time, but I was basically just to not look at the big screen and just put my head down and run.
It was a huge spark. I mean, it was a big turnaround for us. Jamaal had been running the ball well all day, and I'm sure I don't know how much he rushed for, but his numbers had to be up there. But that's a testament also to those offensive linemen. They really embraced the challenge. Coach said, hey, we feel like we had an opportunity to run the ball this week, and they embraced the challenge. They did a great job. Our fullbacks did, our wide receivers. But speaking on that particular play, that was a huge spark for our team, and I think it really rebounded us, gave us some confidence, and got us going again.
You knew it was just a matter of time before, he broke one. You kind of feel it. Early in the game, he was already getting 8 and 9 yards, and usually when that happens, there's going to be a big one coming in after that. So I think everyone was feeling. I think the O-line was feeling it. I think we had a lot of confidence that we could make something big happen, and I know Jamal was really starting to gain a lot of confidence throughout the game.
30-some carries, or did you count them, or do you know how many carries?
I just know there was a lot of carries. I didn't know how many, but I just trying to get more energy. The coach said they put me on my back this week. They looked at me right in my face. They didn't tell me, all he told me is, man, we're going to give you the rock. We're going to feed the rock. So he gave me the ball, and I didn't disappoint. I went out there and played.
There you go, straight ninja, 39 carries, or 39 touches in this game. The guy's a warrior.
He is.
And if this season turns into something, Jamaal Charles ignited it.
Well, it is, and it is game-changing. But, some other things that were game-changing is the defensive side of the ball and one Stanford route and some of the things he did. But as you look at that right now, Jamaal Charles, 33 carries, 233 rush yards. Chiefs leading the league, rushing, leading the league, total offense, crazy things. That has to continue for them to be successful. That goes without saying, but it wasn't happening up until this week. They were getting some yards, but it's a little bit late. But just fabulous what you see. And really, you're seeing a team start to gel, in my opinion, and that's what I bring up the defensive side of the ball, because they did some good things early in the game and late. Certainly the first series didn't go the way they would like, but they made adjustments, and as the game continued to roll on, they just kept believing, and they started making plays.
Let's go to the defense now. Stanford route. This is the only takeaway the Chiefs have had in 3 games, but it was gigantic. The Chiefs had turned the momentum. You sensed it on the sideline, but New Orleans was coming back to score. And then Route's interception and the pressure on Breeze and the fact that they just stayed after New Orleans. Now, keep in mind, New Orleans had averaged 30 points in their first 2 games. They averaged 34 points all of last year. Only Green Bay was better. And the Chiefs flat got after Drew Brees and this New Orleans offense. That is a story that's a little bit lost in the Jamaal Charles day, because the second paragraph of this story is the way that they attacked this New Orleans offense and took care of business.
Well, they did, and as you see all these pressures, I mean, there's 4 sacks on the day, Mitch. It could have had 2 more if it's not for Breeze moving around trying to throw the ball. Right there, he's trying to do it also, but that's a safety by Justin Houston, which just kept the ball rolling on the right way. When you started with a 91-yard touchdown for Jamaal, then you go to the Stanford route. But just a great job, DJ. You see also just a lively defense that was just going all over the place, changing things up just enough to confuse Breeze. And what you saw also was you saw the defensive line staying in their lanes, doing some different things, confusing the offense, but never giving the Breeze those windows that he needs at 6 foot, I think, to throw the ball effectively down the field. Now, he did it a couple times, and certainly he got some of his, but a guy who had thrown, 35 straight 300-yard games, and then to hold him to less than 300 this game, that's kudos to the defense as well, and defensive coordinator Romeo Crennel.
I loved on this play the sudden change. You want to watch a defense convert. They had not had a turnover all year. They converted on that play because when defenders turned into offensive players and they made some key blocks, because it was a pick deep in Chiefs territory, but the return gave some Chiefs the breathing room. Now, in this game, in watching the tape, there were 27 plays in base, so I might be off a little bit, 32 in the sub package and 2 in a couple of different defenses. But let's start with the base defense, because, Kendall, what is apparent? I want to ask you this. It seems like for 3 weeks, what is your opinion? Because nobody has base run the ball against the Chiefs for 3 weeks.
Well, you're right, and when you can stop the run, that makes such a difference, because you've got some availability to do different things on 2nd and 3rd and long, and that's what you're trying to get the offense into over there. But you're seeing Tyson Jackson doing some great things in terms of stopping the run. Dorsey did a nice job, or nose tackles did a nice job. I thought Rapati Patoatui played as well as he's played this entire year. I mean, he's a beast of a man at 6'8", and he causes some problems because he's just so agile for as big as he is. But defensive line came through, stepped up, and they have to continue, because that's where it's won on the defensive line. But that being said, you saw DJ all over the place, played a great game. If he's not on the field, you've got issues. And certainly when he went off the field very quickly, right before half, we wondered what was going on, but luckily it was just cramps.
Yeah, Derek Johnson's Longhorn Ninja too on this team. But let's talk about the defensive line. You mentioned him going right on. This might have been Tyson Jackson's best game.
Right.
When I watched it on the coach's tape, it might have been his best game. Jarrell Poe was big in this game. You mentioned Glenn Dorsey. Every week just grinds. Dontari Poe in this game. Ropati Pioia Tua was outstanding. But let's go down to the sub package, because the first 2 weeks, you and I talked about it. It was not clicking. There was open receivers. There was very little pressure. In this game, it both happened. And the fact that they took Sproles out of the game. There were a lot of times when I watched it on tape, they double covered Sproles. They had decided as a defensive staff it was not going to be Sproles to beat them, although he had the 46-yard run earlier in the game. Sproles was held in check throughout the remainder of the game. But the adjustments were key, and I thought the sub package was much, much better this week. What do you think?
Well, no, I agree completely with that. And when you look at the first half, it only separated sub package to base package by like 1 or 2 plays. So they were 50-50. But the fact is, when they were in the base and they threw against it, because naturally you bring the sub package in to defend the pass, but sometimes they run out of that and that catches you off guard. But I thought when they were in that base package, they defended the pass okay, and when they were in the penny package, the sub package, they defended the run pretty well, and I thought that was important because that, to me, lets you know as a defense that you're doing some right things, because now it's players stepping up and making plays, and I think that gives Romeo more confidence and ability to call the things maybe for a feel of the game and not so much always with the personnel that's in there.
Whether it's base sub, let's put those numbers back up, whether it's base sub or penny, nickel, dime, this number jumps off the screen. Because the Saints, even though they were 0-2, had high offensive production against both the Redskins and the Panthers. They started this game with high offensive production. That 24-point total, 14 were short field points. They got the ball at the 19 and the 7 of the Chiefs. 288 total yards for a Drew Brees quarterback team, to me, is amazing. It's a little bit lost in the talk of the offense. But to do this to a Saints team with the offense that they've got, with all the weapons that they have at receiver and with Sproles and with Brees, to me is a monumental effort.
Well, it is, and really the defense did a good job holding Graham in check for most of the day. And I like I'm going to go back to what you talked about a little bit ago. If there's one thing that I really liked in terms of how you were going to game plan things is don't let Sproles beat you. And they didn't let Sproles beat them. They had to do something else. They continually throughout the day, even when he got the ball off, they put pressure on Brees. And it was something that he's quite honestly not accustomed to. This is not the Saints team of the last 3 years. It's a good Saints team, even though it's 0-3, but they've got their issues. But the Chiefs rather really exposed some of the things, the weaknesses that the Saints have.
Now the Chiefs have to take the ball away better. Only 1 takeaway in 3 weeks. They're in the bottom of the league by far. But the one guy that had that 1 takeaway is excited, and he's an AFC West veteran. He has played against the Chargers many, many times. Stanford Routt can lead the way in this secondary.
We knew as a defense it was going to be on us, and especially in the back end. Those guys up front, they do a good job stopping the run. So we knew that, with them, being a passing team like they are, we knew that it was going to come down to us. And so we all went out there, fought, no matter what, whether it was a bad play, good play, or whatever, move on to the next one. And like I said, our offense, they came through for us, got that field goal at the end of the game, and it was just all out team victory. Special teams, offense, defense. One thing Rack always says, there's going to be adversity. And, no game is ever going to be perfect. Obviously that team right there, with the with the type of year Drew had last year, obviously they're a great team. So their record may not indicate it, but, records don't mean nothing sometimes. But like I said, we just fought. Sometimes, it not only 4 quarters, it goes 5 quarters. So we just know that you just got to keep fighting. And just keep fighting, and then at the end of the game, just look up at the scoreboard, and then you'll see what it is after then.
Yeah, and flipping back to the offensive side of the ball, Stanford Routt could talk about the offensive line. Let's be honest, Rodney Hudson goes down. Doesn't look good for Rodney short term at all. Ryan Lilja goes from left guard to center. Jeff Allen has to come in and play left guard. Bailing wire, bubble gum, gray tape. What about the O-line?
It's amazing. Having been a former offensive lineman, I can't stress how difficult it is to move from positions, especially to one if you're playing center like Lilja did. And the veteran that he is, of course, he knows everything, but still, you're now having to block, but you're having to throw a ball between your legs first and get it to the QB and do that, and you have to keep the ball possession and be the ball security. So great job. I watched him on his fits and how he got into people, got to the second level on backers, just fabulous. And then Jeff Allen, left guard, the rookie. I think it's very, very key in the fact that he had Lilja at center and Brandon Albert to the left of him, two veterans, seasoned veterans that could help him out with things. But he did a nice job, made a key block on that run for Charles, did a good job getting to the linebackers on the backside. You'll see it right here. He hooks his guy and Charles goes right to the left of him. Great job. Just really, really mature for a guy. And that's how you know that you're a true pro, if you're a backup and you prepare like you're going to play that day, because when it does come your time to play, you go in and you do that. That's the difference in the ball game.
Well, Lilja's a pro's pro. We all know that. And I am impressed with Jeff Allen and the way he's approached his rookie season. Now, let's deal with this week and the fact that, and you played this game, and I think it's a fascinating part of the psychology of sport. You go off instinct, you go off adrenaline, and now, if you have to play the position, both in Allen or Lilja's case, you think about it, okay? It's a whole different approach than just being thrown into the deep end of the water, and the other team has a chance to scout you. Now, let's just take those two players in and of itself. For Ryan Lilja and Jeff Allen with the week, now you think about it.
Right.
It's not dealing off adrenaline or instinct anymore. Now you got to think about it. What do you do?
You know what? You've got to deal with it. I like how Lilja will be with it because he's a veteran. I think it's tougher for a rookie, and this is not getting on Jeff Allen. This would happen to anybody. If you do have to make that start, if they go with that lineup this week and we don't know how they're going to be with everything, the fact is, you've got to be ready for TTs, TEs. You've got to be ready for the defense trying to confuse you, trying to take advantage of you. That's what the NFL is. You try to find the weak link, and you try to take advantage of it. And I don't think Jeff Allen is the weak link, but you don't want to be that. And so you've got to make sure you've got to take extra time to prepare. And from what I saw last week, he's been taking that time anyhow.
And this is a good San Diego front seven that they will face defensively. That might be the strength of this Charger team right now with their 2-1 start. Let's talk about Matt Cassel. Matt Cassel in this game. To me, it reminded me of the Cleveland game, the win on the road in 2010, where there were some issues statistically. He wasn't making great throws all day. But when it counted now, he made some key plays to win the game. When he did his little 180 or 360 headed toward Metairie, it's like, where is he going? And it comes back to find Baldwin for a gigantic play of 12 yards. There's just a lot of hidden key plays here made by Matt Cassel that led to this Chiefs victory.
Well, you're right, and you see him managing the game at times, and you see him threading the needle. He throws some slants to Bo that are right in between people. He's giving the ball right there to Charles so he can catch the ball and continue to run. Just doing some very, very nice stuff. Nice play actions, hitting Bo right there across the middle. So just really, I don't want to say facilitating the game, but just doing what he has to do at times, not being too spectacular, then all of a sudden jumping up and doing some great things. To me, that's a QB that doesn't have an ego, who all he wants to do is win, and if he's called upon to do some different things, he's going to do them, but just did a great job. I love his leadership qualities and how he deals with things. He never seems to get rattled. And when you're in a huddle and you're looking at your QB, you don't want him to be rattled. You want him to have complete control and feel like he knows exactly what's going on.
This play is sick, meaning good sick. This is just a gutsy play, and Baldwin he threw it up there, and Baldwin's going to go get that one. You can say what you want about Matt. Look at his comeback victories as a quarterback for the Chiefs. He's now looking towards double-digit in that, or in his career, and to me that's a big stat for a quarterback. Now let's transition to your wheelhouse, and that is special teams. Start with Ryan Succop, 6, all-time Kansas City Chiefs record. Some of the greatest kickers in the game have played here. Jan Stenerud's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but he did not have 6 field goals in a game. What about Succop being money?
Boy, as a team, when you know your field goal kicker can make some kicks like he did under extreme pressure, and those last 3 or 4, they meant a lot, and he knew it. And of course, he'd had a kick earlier in the year that he hadn't made and felt like it was important. So to come back after that, that's what I like even more, is the fact that something didn't go right earlier in the season, but you rebound from it. And he just has that demeanor, has a strong leg. I like you see there, gets great elevation on all his kicks. You're not even close to getting a ball blocked. So good things for him, and just really a flawless snap, hold, and kick all day long as well. Obviously, I'm going to go to that a little bit because that's what I did for 15 years. But you've got to have a good snap. The holder has to get it down with the laces there so he can put the kick down and get it, and that's what he did.
Well, there's pressure, though, on the snapper. People overlook that. you know, victories, what defeats an orphan, victory has 1,000 fathers. I also say victory has 1,000 hidden plays. So the snapper with Gafford doing it under pressure. But let's talk about Dustin Colquitt. He was like Shane Lechler in this game in the fact that he was such a weapon. The way he placed the football, the punt, Jaleel Brown plays it well at the 3. But we can also overlook how much of a weapon. What did Dustin Colquitt do in this game to help the Chiefs win?
Well, you know what? They didn't want to get return yards by Darren Sproles. We're not going to let Darren Sproles beat us, and that's what he did. I think he had 2 return yards on punts. Dustin has 5 punts on the day, 4 of the 5 inside the 20. 3 of those 4, I believe, were inside the 10. Huge. He puts that one down there like you talked about, and then a play later, or 2 plays rather, later, you get a safety on Drew Brees. You can't underestimate how important it is for a defense when they go down there and they're lining up inside the 20 and they know that the offense has a long field, because offenses can put some long drives together, but they can't do it time in and time out. They need chunks, and New Orleans was not getting those chunks, but the field position was created by one Dustin Colquitt.
With the overtime rules, winning the toss doesn't necessarily mean because you have to get a touchdown to win it on a first possession. So if you're not going to get a touchdown, you at least better flip the field. And that's precisely what the Chiefs did. They had enough offensive production. They shifted from their own 20.
Right.
But then Colquitt and Jaleel Brown to down the ball to an alert play and a great punt now has Brees backed up. And I said this, there were 3 people thinking about a safety to end the game in overtime.
Right.
One was me, because I'm thinking that'd be pretty cool. 2 was Justin Houston. I talked to him after the game. He goes, heck yeah, I'm thinking about that. And 3 is Drew Brees.
Yeah, it's got to be in his mind. It can't be. He's been getting knocked around all the way, Drew Brees I'm talking about in terms of that day. But to down the ball at the 3-yard line, as a defense, when they come out there, Jaleel Brown's made a fabulous play. I mean, that's huge. You talk about the momentum and how it changes. Momentum was maybe stopped a little bit because the offense doesn't go down and score, but they flip the field, like you said, and the defense comes out there. They know that the offense for New Orleans has to go 97 yards. Probably not going to happen. They get all over it, and they force a 3 and out, and then the Chiefs put together a long drive.
So here you go. It's now time to play in the AFC West for the Chiefs for the first time this year. If Kansas City can beat the San Diego Chargers at Arrowhead on Sunday, they will be tied for first place in the division. When we come back, we'll take a look as you look at the standings. Kansas City at 3 teams at 1 and 2 right there. You always look at the differential points for and allowed. But when we come back, we're going to break down the Chiefs versus Chargers and Kansas City playing for first place this week at Arrowhead.
Chiefs fans, you know, they're the most passionate fans I've ever been around. And we have an outdoor stadium, but we're honestly the loudest stadium I've ever been in. And they know football and they're educated about it. And that's what I love about them, is that they want us to win every single game, and it doesn't matter what the circumstances are. They're always out, they're always cheering, and it's a great atmosphere and a great fan base to be a part of.
It means Chiefs breakdown time, because it is time to play division football. For the first time, the Chiefs will play the division this week against the San Diego Chargers, a team that's coming off a loss. And overall, Kendall, your thoughts on the Chiefs-Chargers matchup?
You know what? It's a division game. Everybody knows everybody. I had a chance to talk to Stanford Routt after the game. I think it's interesting the fact that, you know, he was with Oakland, so he knows the Chargers well. I think that's a good thing. But when it comes down to the Chiefs have to establish the run, they have to continue to establish a run. That helps everything. Defensively, they have to get after Rivers. They have to get after the tight end Gates if he's going. But really, if you can continue to put the pressure on like the defense did, that makes everything else go well also.
Let's pick up on your Chiefs' running attack. They lead the National Football League in rushing by far. And they also lead the league in total offense. The Chiefs do. If you look at the numbers rushing, now all of a sudden, 2012 after 3 weeks looks like some other year.
Yeah, you go back to 2010 when they were doing what they're doing right there at 164 yards a game. And you go back to this because you look at things in terms of, go back to the year when Jamal Charles was healthy and running. That was 2010 when they did everything. And of course, the run always sets things up. So you look at those are good numbers to see. That's a nice comparison to look at, because that can maybe give you a taste of what's coming on later on. Then you see with the yards per game also stellar.
But look at the rushing yards per game at 192 for Kansas City, 60 yards ahead of the next closest team, Philadelphia, that's 5th overall in total offense. Now, why does it start to look like 2010? Because we tend to think in the National Football League of explosive plays only as passes. In 2010, the Chiefs were explosive in the run game. Now, all of a sudden, they're explosive in the run game again. Hillis, although he's got the injury right now, has had an explosive run. Sean Drone has had explosive runs. And then, of course, we have seen a 46-yarder, a 40-yarder, and the 91-yarder from Jamaal Charles. What about the explosiveness for Kansas City in the run game?
Well, you look at what they do, and they like to run between the tackles, because that run right there by Charles, that was between the tackles. It bounced outside a little bit, but they're trying to run off tackle ball. But the Chiefs just have to be physical, and really the AFC West is a physical division, I think, and they've just got to continue to press with things. Now, again, that's going to be certainly an issue this week when you talk about the offensive line and what you've got going on. You've got to deal with some issues there, but Mitch, it's the NFL. This happens all the time. The next person has to be ready to go. And I say it all the time. It is what it is, but the NFL, it is what it is. You've got to understand that when it's your time to step up, you've got to step up and make some plays. And
also stay tuned for some roster moves here. Kansas City's going to have to make some moves on the offensive line. Only had 7 on the 53 going into last week, and man down with Rodney Hudson. All right, rushing yards per game, the Chargers in what they've allowed. This might be the strength of their football team. Look at this. Only 67 rushing yards allowed per game. That's 4th in the league. And they've played some teams, including the Raiders and the Falcons, that like to run the ball, that have good runners.
Well, they do, and certainly that's an issue, because that's the strength of the Chiefs. So now you've got strength meeting strength. But I like the Chiefs and how they match up with things. But that being said, if it's not there all day, or maybe you have to set up the run every once in a while with the pass, I think the passing game is something they can get going against San Diego. But again, if the run's shut down completely, then that opens it up for people like Sean Phillips and some other guys there, where now they pin their ears back and they're just playing the run on the way to the passer, and you don't want that to happen either.
I do think San Diego's got a very good front 7 defensively. They drafted Corey Liuget. They picked up Jared Johnson, which was a sneaky pick, from the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, that's a player. Baltimore misses him. They wish they still had him today, certainly with all the injuries they've had. But he's a guy that can get it done also. So that's somebody the Chiefs are going to have to account for.
Now let's go to the other side of the ball. Philip Rivers comes again to Kansas City. Not a great moment last year. He fumbles the center-to-quarterback exchange. He could have run out the clock. Studebaker gets it. Suckup goes down and kicks a field goal. Chiefs win. And then 2 years ago, it was the Monday Night Football game that christened the new Arrowhead, which is some of the better recent memories for Kansas City. Rivers has always put up big numbers. Now, so far this year, 4 TDs and 3 picks. But I want to bring this up, Kendall. In studying Philip Rivers now, since he became the starter, when they decided they're going to let Drew Brees go and make Rivers the starter, he has thrown to his running backs more than any quarterback in the National Football League. Since he became the starter now, this is a lot of years in this database, numerically, he throws to his backs over 1/3 of the time. So you've got to account on these passes to the backs out of the backfield.
Well, you do, and as you look at these highlights that you see of him throwing to the backs, the one thing that's glaring that stands out to me is the fact that you don't see a lot of yards after the catch. And that's what the defense has to do this week. They have to make sure that if he does get it to them, because quite honestly, they're quick throws. You may not be able to get to them right away and defend the pass, but you've got to bring them down. There's nobody that misses Darren Sproles more than Philip Rivers. And you look at last year, he throws 2 interceptions in both at San Diego and here. 4 interceptions total last year. This is a guy, I'm sorry, a lot of people love him. He's done really, really good things. I've never felt like he was an elite level quarterback. I always felt like he's going to give you 2 to 3 times a game where he's going to throw the ball up, and you're going to have a chance as a defense to come down with it.
He's competitive. He's fiery. I've had these discussions too.
Right.
I've been in public discussions about him. He is fiery, but sometimes that fieriness leads to some mistakes. Now, in the offseason, they made some moves to try to bolster. They pick up Meacham from New Orleans. They get Eddie Royal to move over from the Denver Broncos. They have Antonio Gates. He loves to throw to Gates as well if Gates is healthy. They got Malcolm Floyd that they can use. But on the offensive line now, they've lost some folks. When Chris Steelman retires, they thought that, they thought Gaither could be their left tackle. They're trying to piece things together on the offensive line. What's it look like to you?
Well, you're right. And when you bring up the left tackle, well, that left tackle is blocking one Tamba Hali. And you've got the best of both worlds, in my opinion, Mitch, in terms of the fact that Tamba Hali's over there with the left tackle that's maybe having some issues. Justin Houston, has 3 sacks last week. He's a force to be reckoned with. This is what we thought was going to happen when you went into the season this year, is you were going to have these bookend guys that could rush the passer. I mean, Tamba hasn't got it going yet, but we know he can, and he will. So if you've got those 2 guys there, and you're holding the integrity of the pocket, or rather pushing the integrity of the pocket inside and doing some things, that makes it difficult for quarterbacks, rather. And Phillip Rivers, that would be the worst nightmare for him, and certainly one, as a Chiefs fan, you're hoping happens.
Well, there you go with our Chiefs breakdown. Kansas City a chance to play for first place this week at Arrowhead, and hopefully Arrowhead is rocking. It'll be the first time the Chargers have played in daylight in Arrowhead, going back all the way to 2009, because the last 2 games here at Arrowhead have been at night. This one will be in the daytime at noon, 10 o'clock Pacific time. Just going to throw that out there, as Kansas City will play the Chargers. For Kendall Gammon, I'm Mitch Holthus. Get ready for this one. It's division football time.